Hey there. So now you've decided what issue you're going to muckrake about, and it's going to involve some research. So now we're going to do some of the more academic work around how to develop a solid research question. Now, again, you may not be, hang on a second, sorry, I'm jumping around here. You may not be, this may not always be how journalists approach it 100% of the time, but believe me when I tell you, this is what's going to make your article successful. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come up with a research question. The research question is the thing that we're constantly pursuing the answer for. It's going to be a number of things. It's going to be clear so that the audience understands what it is you went and looked for. But it's also got to be focused so that you have stuff to write about. It's got to be concise, so you don't want to have this overly wordy, loopy question. It's got to be complicated, complex enough to not be a simple yes or no. Are computers good? Well, that's overly simplified as a question, and the answer is yes. You could argue no, but it's a little oversimplified. It does require a synthesis of ideas. In what ways have computers improved our lives? That's a little more specific. And you could also debate most of the answers to the question. So we're going to take a look at some sample research questions here. And I want you to take a look at this first one. We have an unclear question. It says, how should social networking sites address the harm they cause? Maybe that sounds pretty focused, but then it says, what action should social networking sites like Instagram and Facebook take to protect users' personal information and privacy? So one of these is unclear, and one of these is clear. Take a minute, pause the video, and fill this in as to why you think one is clear and one is unclear. Pause the video and come back. Okay, we're back. Now, the next one you're going to take a look at is these two questions around global warming. One is, what is the effect on the environment from global warming? It's not that that's not a valid question. It really is a valid question, but it's so unfocused. You could be writing books upon books upon books on that question versus what is the most significant effect of glacier melting on the lives of penguins in Antarctica? That's a lot more focused because it does deal with the issue of global warming, but one specific effect. So, what is the difference between the two? Pause the video, answer the question, come back. Good. Third one. Now, how are doctors addressing diabetes in the US? That's yes, that's something you could say they're doing blah, blah, blah. You could list some things in, but it doesn't really have enough complexity to really sink your teeth into it. What are the main environmental, behavioral, and genetic factors to predict whether Americans have developed diabetes? And how can these commonalities be used to aid the medical community in the prevention of the disease? So I've actually practically given you the outline of my article. I'm going to talk about three things: environmental, behavioral, and genetic factors, how they predict diabetes, and how can these factors help doctors help people not to become diabetic. Very different question. Kind of outlines the whole answer. Now, why is this essential? Well, I went through this, and this is actually a wonderful set of questions from the Writing Center at George Mason University. But I want to go through them one at a time so you have a minute to answer them. First of all, choose an interesting topic. Topics need to be genuinely interesting to other people to read and to you to study. You're going to be spending a couple of weeks on this, so you don't want to sit there and write on a really boring topic. So go ahead and give me a general topic. They gave you a couple of general topics there. Those are more not really muckraker topics, but they're general. So go ahead and pause and write your topic down. Excellent. Now, I want you to take some time now. You're going to have to pause the video again and do some general research. Do some quick searches in periodicals and journals. In other words, hit Google News and then start following some of those articles down and look at what's already being researched, what's already out there. What are people discussing about it? What are people already saying about, let's say it's global warming? What are people already saying about it? And what ideas occur to you as you read the article? So put the source here is the article you found. Maybe you read an article in the New York Times about the effects of global warming on penguins. So the source, you copy the URL and put it here. And then what does it say about your topic? And you realize that, oh my God, the penguins are dying a lot faster than they thought. They're dying at 100,000 more a year. That's your annotation. Give me at least 3 so you get a sense of it. Pause, come back in 20 minutes, half an hour when you're done. Next, this is going to require a little bit of thinking. Your audience is academic for college papers, for high school papers, but we want to put this out on the website. So, who is my audience? And I don't want you to be overly generic. So, don't say the general public, the readers of the website. No, we need to do better than that. I need you to think about I want people to read this who care deeply about this and tell me why they care. Is it young people like you? Is it older people? Is it people with a lot of money or a little money? Is it politicians? Is it activists? Who do you want? Pause. Okay, we're back. Now, start asking questions. Ideally, I want at least 2 questions, but it would be really awesome if you could, click and tab and add 1 more to it, or at least 1 or 2 more to it. But I need at least 2 questions, about if you have a good research topic, once you start researching it, more questions should come. So start asking yourself those questions. Pause, sorry. And then finally, evaluate that question, not finally, but evaluate the question. Is it clear? Is it focused? So try to write one that is clear, that's focused, and complex enough. Take a stab at it right here. That's the stab I want you to take. Pause the video, take a shot at it. Then finally, with your research question, what is it? What paths could this possibly take? That's another tough one. So if I bring up the Arctic penguins things, it could take this path of lots of data and research. It could also take the path of videos and anecdotal stories of people trying to save the penguins or people getting activists at the UN about what's happening with the penguins. It could really take a lot of different angles. What do you expect that you're going to learn? Do some prediction, pause, and go do that. And then finally, the last thing you want to look at is who are the other points of view? There are, if you're talking about global warming, there are people who believe that global warming is a hoax. You have to be able to address that if you're choosing a global warming question. The hoaxers, you have to take a look at any of the industries that are affected by penguins and the loss of the penguins in that area. Does that affect commercial fishery? Does that affect other, how does that fit into a larger life picture? So give me the other perspectives you might be dealing with when you're dealing with your information. When all that's done, you're going to want to turn this in. If you have spent 20 minutes on this, I can guarantee you've gone way too short. I look at this process, this is an hour to an hour and a half total, including the time we spend in class. So that's the expected work. If you get that done, I'm assuming you've spent an hour and a half to 2 hours on this minimal. All right, hope that helps. How am I going to grade you? There's a rubric. Of course, there's a rubric. So open it up. There's the rubric and read it. When you read it, it tells you exactly what I'm looking for, all those questions, and how it is you're getting to 100 points. When I read your essay, when I read your skill builder sheet right here, I will be looking at this rubric at the same time. I hope that helps, and thanks for watching.